Hi everyone. Okay, I'm into videos today. I thought you'd like me to show you how to make these little hard-backed notebooks with those 20p jotters from Wilko. They're really easy, and it's easier to explain than it is to put a thing up on the website. Right, okay, what you need: chipboard. Again, I'm using recycled hardback envelopes for the chipboard base. So you need two pieces, both measuring 10.5 times 8.5 centimeters, and then a little strip cut off, sort of the same strip as these, measuring 10.5 and 0.7 centimeters. That's going to be the spine. Okay, so that's your chipboard. You need 3 pieces of paper. You can get all of these out of a 12 by 12 sheet and still have some left. Okay, so you want one piece, which is the front cover. So basically these are going to stick to that. So that is 20 by 12 centimeters. Then the liner that is going to cover up all of the fold-in measures 10.3 by 17.5. So if I put that in properly, you'll see. And then your cover for the actual jotter itself. We're not even going to rip the front page off. We're just going to stick the paper straight to the top of there and then bend it round. And that measures 10.1 by 12.5. And as I say, you can get all of that out of one sheet of 12 by 12. Okay, I have already stuck double-sided tape onto the back of everything just to speed everything up for me for the video. So yes, I use, when I'm doing stuff like this, I use this massive 5 centimeter wide tape. You can get it on eBay. Last time I bought it was a couple of months ago now, I think. Now I buy 3 rolls, and last time it was around £8. So you just type in 5 centimeter double-sided tape and see what you get. I just find it easier for construction. It just makes life a lot easier, to be honest. Right, gonna peel that backing paper off. There we go. My bin's just down there if you're wondering why I'm dropping things down the side. Okay, so you want to try and get these as straight as you can, but with an even border. It's not rocket, it's not essential, it just makes it a bit easier to keep it tidy. So one there. Then you want the spine in the middle. Okay, so the spine needs, you need a little gap of about, I mean, I'm still testing different widths out. I was doing like about a 2 millimeter width, but the paper sometimes cracks, so I'm just trying a little bit wider, so 2.5 millimeters maybe this time, just to, and as you can see, I haven't got it straight because I've got a bigger bit at this end, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's on there. Then you need to turn it over and burnish it down really well. And if you're wondering about the paper, I've just got a delivery this morning from the works, and that is one of the sheets of paper in this pad that I'm using today. Okay, just so in case you want it. The trouble with the papers at the works is, unless you've got a big store, my little store doesn't have 12 by 12 papers anymore, so I have to get them online. I can't get them anywhere else. But fortunately they do free P&P after 30 quid, I think it is. And you can also pay 2 quid extra if you've done, I think it's 20 quid actually. You can also pay 2 quid extra and they'll deliver it next day. So I ordered this yesterday and it was here this morning. Obviously it wasn't the only thing I got. Anyway, back to the project. Right, so you need to trim off these corners, but don't trim it too close or you'll end up being able to see those little corners. But what you can also do is, from the corners you trim off, you can stick them back down onto the very corner of your chipboard, and that resolves the problem basically. But I rarely remember to do this, I have to be honest. So, but it does help cover up any little close shaves you do with the scissors. As I say, this has already got sticky on, so it's quite easy to do. I'm not messing about with glue and things to try and get glue on a little tiny corner. I find it easier sometimes as well, little things or sticky things, to stick them to me old craft blade that I keep just for this. And then they're not sticking to my fingers. Right, easiest way to do this now is, it might not work so well with me sticky already on, yes it does, is to bend it over. Okay, but do all the bending first. Bend it over your chipboard. You have to hold your chipboard quite tight so you can get it to bend, the paper to bend properly. And this is quite heavy paper as well actually, and the tape makes it even more so. Right, so as you can see, I bent all of it round. Now I'm going to go round with me other bone folder and just run it along to get a nice flat edge along there. It also helps with stick, I suppose, but the flat edge is what I'm after. Right, it doesn't matter if they're a bit uneven, as I say, because we're going to cover them up with the lining. So it doesn't matter if one's not quite as far over as the other one, just make sure they're stuck down well, which is another reason I like this tape. Very sticky. Last one. And I didn't need those corners stuck down after all, but it's worth doing just in case. Right, and that's going to go on there like so. I'll just straighten off the edges. There we go. Yeah, that's quite nice. I'm quite pleased with that. Right, so that's that bit done. Ignore worrying about the spine for now. I won't kid you, it is a bit tricky to do because it sometimes cracks, which is why I'm trying a different gap down there to see if that helps. Okay, my paper's going to be, because I've made the gap a little bit wider than usual, my paper isn't going to have an even, sorry, I've just accidentally switched the laminator on, that's it. I like my paper even, so I'm just going to trim a bit off down the side. The tape away from the blade. Alright, and that trimmer blade with a mark on, I keep an old trimmer blade to cut the chipboard with so I don't mess up my good blade. But I know, and I keep it marked. I don't always leave it on the trimmer. It's just because I've just been doing this today. I normally just keep it in my tool pots. Right, so take the paper off here, so it's much quicker because I prepared so much of it first. There we go. Actually, that's nice on both sides, that paper. Okay, now I'm just going to try and get this kind of level in the middle. As I say, I did put a larger gap in there, so it's not quite as nicely fitting as I planned. So if this works, you might need to lengthen your line of paper by maybe 17.7 instead of 17.5. We'll see if it works first. Right, this is where you need a full length bone folder. I quite like this. I don't even know where it came from, but I quite like it. Because you need to find that crease, the spine, there's one side of it. And there's the other. Right. Because we need to define that spine a bit. So all I usually do is push my bone folder down the gaps. It sometimes cracks, that's why I'm trying leaving a bigger gap down the sides of the central piece of chipboard. I don't know if it'll work or not, we'll see as we go. But yeah, I think maybe it might have worked by leaving a sort of 2 and a bit gap. I'll sort that out in a bit. Right, yeah, that seems to have worked a bit better, because my other ones crack down here sometimes. I think it's just the thickness of the paper in some cases. But that's your hardcover done. So just make sure it's well stuck down and nothing's going to come loose. Try and make sure there are no bubbles under your spine where the paper's kind of risen up, or just to the side of it. There we go, we're nearly done actually, so this has worked out better by putting all the sticky on it. Right, so I've made this I've made this 12.5 purely to give us enough room to tuck it right down the back. You could probably get away with it being a little bit shorter, but you've got enough paper in a 12-inch sheet, so why skimp? You know, I wish I'd left it on that side now so having it all same, but never mind, we're too late now. Right, so basically you're sticking it straight down onto the book. If you're using glue, which is what I normally would use for this, if you're using glue, you're going to have to keep a hold of the bottom when you bend it around the top, because it'll pull it up and then you'll see the bottom of your book cover. It's all right with this because it's sticking itself. And the other thing about glue is you sometimes end up with a little bit coming out the side. So when you actually go to use the book, some of the pages are stuck together. So be careful if you're using glue. Right, the other thing I normally do is when I get to this point, I haven't told you any score lines because there's no point. Every one will be different. I normally just make it a bit easier by running my scorer, my bone folder along there, and then again along here, just to help that fold, especially because I've got this tape already on. There we go. Now, as I say, you might not want this much at the back of your book. I just had enough paper. You could go all the way down the back of your book if you wanted to, but you're sticking that to that, so you wouldn't see it, so it doesn't really matter. So there you go, look, you've got your book. We haven't even ripped the cover off, so it's still got a nice shiny cover underneath. Right, now, you could use this. I'm not sure I want to. I'm going to do it with the glue. Again though, be careful with the glue so it doesn't get on the sides and make your pages stick together. There is one more thing you can do before we glue that, so I'll leave that there a second. With just a piece of paper, if you wanted to put a pen slot in, obviously a pen not this long, just kind of guesstimate your piece of paper, wrap it around your pen that you're going to use, and nip it to where it's tight but not, you know, impossible to get the pen out. Glue this together, put your pen back in so you don't go too far. Glue this together and hold it till it grabs. You don't want your pen dropping out, you want it to hold it quite snugly. Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, I'm not using this pen, I'm just showing you how to do this, but there you go. Right, so you've made your pen loop. Make sure your glue's dry. I mean, I'm not going to use this, I'm just showing you how to do it. And then all you do is stick that on the inside back cover, or you could even put it under the flap of the paper if you thought about it, at about that position, so that when, obviously you want it on the other side so it sticks outside your book, so it would be there, so that when you stick your book in place, which you need to leave a little tiny border all the way around, an even border around those three sides, but buttered up just about right up to the bone, the that bit. My brain's gone. Right, so your pen thing would be out here, so that when you close the book, the pen's here, or you could put it further down, it's up to you. But I haven't been able to find any of them mini pens, so I haven't been putting my little loops on them this year. You know, I had all those little mini pens last year. Anyway, I'm waffling. That's it. So it hasn't cracked, so that is a better idea. Slightly wider gap between the side of the book and the front cover and the back cover. So that's it anyway. Dead easy, nothing to it. But I would put a weight on it until everything's dry. Mine's a bit stiffer because of the glue. But there's your book. Good, eh?